everybody feeling? Is everybody excited? Yes. Hello, Maestro. How are you? Very good. Now, boys and girls, I've got to tell you something, and it's a little bit sad, boys and girls, because I was expecting my friend to be here today. He was coming all the way from the North Pole, and he's not here. I've heard that he's backstage sleeping, boys and girls. I know. Do you think you could all help me? Would you help me, boys and girls? Would you? Okay. How about after 3, we all say, "Wake up, bear." Can you do that? Will you help me up there? Okay, is everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. He's still not here, boys and girls. Oh, look, everybody get up. Come on, you're going to have to stand up. Come on. We're going to have to do a little bit better than this. Right. I think they can do it a bit louder. I think a little bit louder. Come on then, everybody. Are you ready after 3? 1, 2, 3. Very good. What was that? Did you hear anything? What was it? Oh, let's have a round of applause for our bear, everybody. Oh, I'm so happy to see you, bear. What's that? What? You'd like me to sign your book? The program? The bear wants an autograph. Oh, look. I've got a pen, bear. Are you ready? There you go, bear. Oh. What? Oh, the bear wants a kiss. Okay, then. Thank you, bear. What? Yes? What, with all the boys and girls? Yes. What a good idea, bear. The bear would like a selfie with everybody. Now, bear, who is going to take our photograph? Who could take our photograph? Louis! Come on then, Louis. Come and take our photograph. Now, boys and girls, you're all going to have to stand up again and wave. Everyone stand up, boys and girls. And you need to wave. A big, big wave. Okay, are you all ready? After 3, everybody ready? 1, 2, woo! Thank you, Bear. Okay, everybody, I think we should start our show. Let's say goodbye to Bear, and you can see him in the foyer. Bye-bye, Bear. Not so far away from the North Pole, there lived a family of polar bears. And they have such warm coats that they can just curl up on an iceberg and go to sleep whenever they feel like it. And on the day our story begins, that's exactly what happened. All except the baby, who didn't want to go to sleep at all. He saw a bird flying high up in the sky, and he jumped up and started to chase it. But he slithered and slipped and fell right down into the sea. He paddled as hard as he could, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't make it back to his family. It started to get dark, and he climbed out onto a small iceberg, feeling very lonely and frightened. But next morning, there was a ship cutting its way through the ice towards him. Sailors let down a rope and hauled him aboard. But the ship didn't take him home. It took him far, far away to London, to a bear pit in the zoo. The bear lived in the pit for years until he got lonelier and lonelier. Until one day, a lovely little girl called Lily came to the zoo, clutching a teddy bear under her arm. She scrambled to get a good look at the bear, and as she did so, dropped her own teddy over the wall. The bear looked at it, carefully picked it up in its jaws, and then carried it away into the darkness of his cave. Tilly was heartbroken, and she thought she would never see the teddy bear again. When they got home, her mother put her to bed and brought her a woolly rabbit. But this only made her more upset, and she threw it down on the floor. She cried and cried, and at last went to sleep, dreaming of her teddy bear and of the polar bear in the zoo. In the middle of the night, a huge, dark shape crept up to the house. It paused by Tilly's window and pushed with a great furry paw. It was the bear. It shoved with its nose and then tried to squeeze through the window. The bear reached out its enormous tongue and gave Lily's face a lick, and it woke her up. For some reason, she wasn't at all scared. She saw that he had brought back her teddy bear, and she was pleased, and she patted him on the nose. The bear yawned. And then Tilly yawned. But how was she going to get him in? She got cross and she pushed him a bit. Then shoved. Until suddenly, the bear just flopped inside and went straight to sleep. And Tilly just snuggled up to the great white coat and went to sleep too. In the morning, she ran downstairs to get some toast for the bear's breakfast. The cat had to jump out of the way. On the way back, she had a shock. The bear had made a terrible mess on the landing. What should she do? Mum and Dad mustn't find out about the bear. She went to the shed, she got a big bucket and a spade, came back and started shoveling. It was hard work, but she managed, and she put the bucket down outside the back door with a bang. Then she tiptoed back into the house. Now what? Oh no, a puddle. And she had to mop it up. She got even crosser. She decided to run a bath for him. The bear got out of the bath with a huge splash. Tilly led the way to the kitchen so they could dry off. The stairs squeaked a bit. He was so heavy. She took a big warm towel and started toweling him down. And then she brushed him. Oh, he liked that, and he gave her a bit of a hug. The bear started eating the cat's food. That's not yours, said Tilly. She pulled him over to the table, and then he started knocking everything off it. He tried to eat some honey, but the pot stuck on his nose. Tilly laughed, and he pulled it off. The bear yawned again. Suppose he went to sleep in the kitchen. She pulled him off towards the bedroom. The cat was fast asleep on the bed, but when the bear came barging through the door, she nearly jumped out of her skin. The bear just nosed his way under the duvet and went straight to sleep, all sideways. Tilly yanked at his ear to move him, but it had no effect. And then she got tired and she went to sleep too. A bit later, Tilly's dad came round to the back door and saw the big bucket. What on earth is that doing there? He went into the kitchen and saw all the mess there. Just at this moment, Tilly's mum came back, and the door slam woke her up. My goodness, she thought, they'll find the bear. But they didn't. And in the evening, they all sat down to watch the Snowman on telly. The bear crept down to watch it too. They didn't see him, but he was standing right behind the sofa where they were sitting. just before the end, he crept back to the bedroom and hid under the bed. Tilly's mum took her to bed, kissed her goodnight, and turned off the light. "Where are you, Bear?" whispered Tilly in the darkness. All of a sudden, the bear's head appeared at the end of the bed. And the whole room started shaking and wobbling round on the bear's back. Somehow, they settled down, went to sleep. Outside, the snow began to fall. The window was still wide open, and the snow seemed to wake the bear. And he gazed out into the moonlight, and for the first time in many years, he thought about the family he had not seen for so long. Perhaps there was some way he could make his way back to them. Quietly, he edged his way out through the window and down into the garden. But he had woken Tilly, and she called out, "Please take me with you, Bear." And she slid down the little roof below her bedroom, clutching at the furry coat and straddling his neck as the bear began to take great strides out into the night. He bounded effortlessly over the high garden wall, but then seemed unsure. He looked up and listened, and suddenly out of the silence he heard a great deep voice that sounded as if it came from millions of miles away.
See how the great bear gleams, so far, far away up high. You can see how the starry beams make a trail in the wintry sky.
There was a park ahead of them, and they caught glimpses of gigantic starry beams. They crashed through the metal gates and galloped frantically up a hill towards them, with mice and squirrels jumping desperately out of their way. Now they could see that the beams of light led right up to the very clouds themselves. An owl flapped out of the bushes, and they followed into the open space of the hilltop. The beams of light grew more and more intense, and the clouds began to open, revealing an immense bear made of nothing but stars, millions and billions and trillions of them. They knew that this was the Great Bear itself, and he had come down to help them, and this was the voice that they had heard.
Make
The lights started to point them away. Down the hill, and Tilly climbed up on the bear's back, and they set off again, with the star bear flying ahead, showing them the way. In a house in a quiet street, a baby woke and saw their shadows passing across the wall. But he soon fell asleep again as they rode into the bright lights of the city. In the center of the finest street, the star bear paused and shook his immense coat of 1,000,000 stars. Tilly felt them shimmering and dancing around her, and as she watched, the stars settled on the Christmas decorations and brought them to life. Angels with wings, angels with golden trumpets, and Father Christmas in his sleigh drawn by reindeers. The whole street was alive with the sound of angels swooping around the figure of the star bear, soaring, diving, and swirling. A taxi driver rubbed his eyes. He couldn't believe it. He just sat there with his mouth open. A pigeon on Nelson's column leapt out of the way. He couldn't believe it either. The star bear swooped down and led them down towards the river. It was completely frozen, and Tilly slid down the bear's great furry back, slipping and slithering onto the ice. She managed to pick herself up and began to skate. Right down the middle of the river, the bear skating with her, and the star bear swooping far ahead up in the sky. They came to rest in the docks, down almost to the sea. Huge cranes loomed up, and through the mist, it was dark and frightening. A rope lay hidden, twisted on the ice, and the bear caught its foot and fell. He tried to free himself, but at that moment, an enormous, black, proud merchant ship began to cut its way menacingly towards them through the ice. With a huge crack, the ice split right open between Tilly and the bear, and she found herself suddenly alone on floating ice in the exact path of the ship. The bear saw the danger and, jumping madly from floe to floe, seized Tilly wildly in his great jaws and somehow leapt clear. She lay on the shore with her heart pounding, more scared than she had ever been in her life. But the bear had saved her. The star bear had watched it all, and now he came right down and settled near them on the shore, pointing to one brilliant star right overhead. The bear must begin its journey home at once while the star still shone and showed him the way. It was time for Tilly to say goodbye, and she hugged the bear, and she watched him enter the water and swim away out into the darkness. And then she turned and cried, for she thought she would never see him again. The star bear lay motionless, and Tilly saw that there was a way to climb onto his back. No sooner had she done this than he swooped off with huge force into the air, up and across the river, over the Tower Bridge, over the city, over concert halls and theatres, shops and offices, hotels, and even the zoo itself. So Tilly came home, and the last cluster of the great bear stars bore her through the open window and into her bed, already fast asleep. She dreamed that the bear had found his way home to his family, far, far away in the north, and she seemed to hear the bear singing softly, just as they had done when they'd skated on the ice together. She looked up, and she saw that the great bear was back up in the sky, with all his other stars around him. But then she felt in her pocket, and just for a moment, one tiny star glowed, right there in her hand. Even as she watched, it faded, and then disappeared in the glowing light of the morning.